Hi, everybody. It's Jeff. No hands. I'm not driving. Not autopilot. Could see the car behind me on the side window. It's not moving, so I'm parked. Yeah, I'm going off. I got to go somewhere, but I just thought I was gonna. I had saw something on LinkedIn. I had it. I want to get it out. Do it. I do a lot of these videos kind of spontaneously because if I don't do them, I'll forget them whatever, and I'm not always noting them down. So it's fast to actually pop off the computer and pull up the headphone set and just do it immediately. That's a faster way to do it, for at least for me. Um, the I wanted to address the topic of of diversity and inclusion. It was International Women's Day yesterday, um, and I think it's a really important thing. I think it's the day is great, and I totally agree with it. I think there's just too much of a focus on um, women and the male and female job parity uh, and equal status thing. I'm not saying I'm against it, okay? I'm just saying that there's too much of that compared with all the other things that diversity inclusion actually includes. Um, and one of my colleagues, Lee Barnard, I'm gonna shout out to you, Lee. Okay, Lee Barnard he's the kind of co-founder of the SAP Here. Okay, we have an SAP Vision group and we have an SAP Here group. They're the challenged, is the hearing and challenged and the visually challenged folks. Um, and so Lee has, said recently in some post or something that I'm one of the most, you know, promoters of diversity inclusion in the company because of the projects I do. I do some projects for helping on. I'm not going to go into those the different ones. I'm not going to talk about them here, um, but I promote diversity and inclusion on other topics outs that are it doesn't matter, and they're usually not male and female ones. They're all the other ones. So, visually impaired. Mobility impaired, even autism, for doing their subtitles for their program for that. Um, you know, Black folks. My son is black. I mean, I can't get, I got an adopted son's black, so I can't get any more. I'm adopted in the black community. Okay, I'm an adopted white guy in the black community. So, it's people have known me for 30 years supporting. I did my degrees I did two graduate degrees in the Department of African Linguistics. What do you get? I mean, that's just what it is. And I've taught people to go be linguists for in Africa, and so I got lots of African friends, and I've worked in Haitian and the French Creole languages for like 30 years. So like that's pretty much all mostly black folks. So I've got a lot of black friends. Yes, I do. And I got a son. So I mean, I identify with so much of the troubles, the difficulties, the challenged, and even as a privileged person who did not come from a privileged background, but I understand the difficulty to a certain point. Okay, and I've got a lot of friends who are, who are that follow the Islam religion. I got folks that follow different religions, so I talk to them regularly, and we have a good rapport. We have a good talk. We are able to talk because we're all tolerant of each other, and we know. And I've made some other videos about this. So I mean, there's other videos about these things, but what I've kind of come down to is focusing here and now on this kind of video on why is there so much a focus on the men and women job parity, um, kind of equal opportunity, but job parity thing, salary parity, um, opportunity parity thing? Um, why is it there's so much of focus on it? Well, because I'm kidding. Ooh, I'm going to tell you the secret here. I'm going to tell the secret. You ready? Um, it's because if you look at HR data, human resources data files, which is usually what that was needed to be able to do this thing. Because what we're trying to do is when we're trying to do analysis things, we're trying to do what's called a return on outcome, ROO, return on outcome, rather than a return on investment, right? Because you invest in something. But what's the return on the outcome of something, especially for diversity inclusion, for all these different challenge groups? Because there are so many challenge groups. You can rent a new diversity inclusion. These are all people that are challenged, okay? And I'll say even visibility challenged and I say visibility, not vision, visibility, in the sense that they want to be visible as being having some rights or some having. I don't want to say rights because rights gives it another thing, but they should be considered in everything that's being done. The problem is everybody can be a thing. I mean, I'm not joking. I am an iPhone challenged person because I hate virtual keyboards. I want my long blood BlackBerry. I want the BlackBerry back because it's got a keyboard. So I am an iPhone, or I am a physical keyboard challenge person. Okay, so I want to create a new diversity inclusion group called the Virtual Keyboard Challenge, or yeah, the Virtual Keyboard Challenge, folks. Okay, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm not, because you know what? These get brought up all the time. Um, so it's possible to have all these groups, and like even think of color blindness. It's challenged, and because when you're reading colorblind, and sometimes I see people say, "Hey, well, your color schemes and stuff are not." Well, yeah, because I'm doing it for people that need to have some different colors to do this. So it kind of depends, and not just colors, just inside the things of the colors to indicate things that are, even if the colors exist, which some people need. You got other people that can't see them, so you put ones and you put letters behind the colors to indicate what the color means, right? So yeah, I was doing that back 30 years ago, actually, doing this in PowerPoints. So all these things, if you think about human resource data, and I did apply for something the other day, and you actually had to say what your salutation is. Okay, you got your job, you got a title, so I can put a little, that kind of thing before it and whatever, and you have a salutation. So what do you call it? As Mister, Ms., that kind of things, right? Well, that goes into HR data behind the scenes, because it actually, behind the thing, it actually said Mister afterwards, because I'm a Mister, because I said I'm a Mister, right? Um, and I'm saying that this is easy to analyze. Now, I'm not going to get into what do we do with the third gender stuff. That again, that's such, it's a small group, and I'm not saying it's negative. I'm not saying that they're not, they shouldn't exist. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that for the huge group, the majority of people, that the HR data exists, it's easy to do measurements from it. Okay, so you can, but you can't go in the HR data. The stuff that's not going to put in, you can't find in any HR data. Yeah, I mean, I remember doing all these equal opportunity hiring things back in the 1990s, mid 1990s. So I was hiring people on minority languages to work on my projects, and I mean, I had to fill out those, U.S. equal opportunities things that back then. I don't know if we can still. I don't know if they do that today. I don't know if it's legal. Back then, I had to say if it was kind of a joke because you had to say all the other different things, but what do you do with the people that are not, native Indian or something? What Caucasian was the word. It was kind of thing, but that covers so many different nationalities or whatever. It's whatever. It's kind of, all these things you cannot measure. So HR data, human resource data about people, when you want to do measurements to be able to compare things about the outcome of whatever. The autistic programs for autism, yeah, you're going to have people that have registered for that, and you know how many people in a company or in an institution there are, and it's usually a small number. And there are people have actually declared themselves, that have dared to declare themselves to be tagged with that, and then they actually are followed with that, and there are a lot of people that don't want to be declared as that. Okay, so, but you do have a number of people. So you've got a very small group of people that are being followed. Um, Also, the hearing challenged, the visually challenged, the impaired, or what challenged, impaired, or what do you want to call it? I don't want to get into the political correctness things here, because I'm thinking here. I'm trying to be careful in the choice of words. Okay, but that is not indicated in the HR data. Okay, but you know who they might be if they say I am visually challenged, or I'm hearing challenged, or something, or the part of group, and if they want to be included in something, then you can measure that if you want, because you didn't measure an outcome in the end. Because if you don't measure an outcome, you can't show the results, and you can't get funding for whatever you want to do. So to get funding, you got to show some outcome. That's the way it is, right? Got to do something. That's how it always is. Um, and so religion, it's not indicated anywhere. Now, I do know the Germans, at least up to a certain point in time, maybe it's still true, that their ID card had their religion indicated. So hey, what there you can actually probably have some information to measure some things, maybe or maybe not, right? Um, but all these different topics of what your skin color is. Now, your skin color, now your hair color is going to be on the driver's license in the United States, not your skin color. Um, but hey, hair color could be a group. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, gray hair. I'm part of the gray hair challenged. Okay. So yeah, I'm kind of joking here to kind of make us feel that these are things that you don't put in HR data, and so it can't be used. I mean, in a good way to measure something. It's not that you're trying to track people and stuff. You're trying to measure the outcome so you can say, hey, how many people have we been affected? How many have we touched? How many have we reached? And how many have been affected? And we've done something with it. That's the whole thing. So how do you show outcome, right? And how do you measure it? So the only thing, because of the Mr. and the Mrs., or Mr. and Ms. or Ms. Miss or whatever you want to, these different variables here that are put in HR data, you can actually say, based on promotions or job moves or salary increases or decreases. I mean, you can actually just use Excel to figure this out and say how many people moved, how many people compared in an institution are male and female, how much they make, what roles they have, what types of roles they have, at what levels. This is like just use Excel sheet pivot tables. I mean, this is so easy, and just use the sum thing. I mean, this is really easy to do. Um, and then how many of them have moved from one to the other? Easy to do. You don't you got all the data to do this, but you can't do it in any of those other topics because there's not enough data to measure. Okay, um, so that's why it's talked about so much, and too much, 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 because there's so much of focus on that, on the men and women thing. But there's not a focus on enough of these other topics, which there are so many. Yeah, like I said, I made the jokes about the iPhone, the virtual keyboard, or about the gray hair. I mean, or the color blindness. We could think of all these different, but just focus on the ones that are known. It's really tough to go show out to show outcome on it because we don't have stats on to and analyze this. Okay, um, well, we don't think we do, but I'm a data scientist too. So I think about this stuff, and I've worked in business intelligence software and with analytics software for since 2001, 20 years. Wow, I've been working not full time, but I mean 20 years of experience using performance management data or performance management systems and business analytics and stuff. So I think about this a lot and how to do it. So I challenge us to do, because we're usually focused so much on the men and the women thing, because that's where the data is, right? So we can do that. What I challenge every person to do is find ways to get the data for the other topics in a legal and ethical way, okay, to be able to show outcome for the other diversity and inclusion topics rather than focusing on that. And I've told, I've told diversity inclusion people, and people, and they're giving seminars and webinars and the women thing, and I call them up after and says, can we do other topics? We're focused on this too much, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. And and people have actually agreed it is too much, but that's what you can measure. And I said, the reason why you can do is can measure it. And they agree with me. But it's the way it got. So I'm challenging all of us to find other ways to measure topics of other challenged or visibility challenged D&I categories that are not about men and women. So we can give equal opportunity to everybody, right? So because everybody can fit into something, okay, at some point. And I just came up with an idea a couple minutes ago. I was making version 1 of this thing. I have a way to get some data, totally legally, and I just have to make some of my support people do some work, okay, on the platform I work with. And I got an idea how to do it. I got to do some workarounds to get the data, but this kind of data could be really interesting, because I can actually show some results and stats on. I can show something, okay? So Send me some vibes here because I need some vibes to do this one. You can send your thoughts and prayers too, but I don't need that. I'm just you don't need to that's just to see that, okay? Um, I'm just I just need to be able to get a little bit of data. Um, what I know how to get, but it's going to be some work for somebody to actually go through and extract the data. That's the part, and I can't do it because I haven't got the authorization to do it. But somebody's got to extract. I'm going to have to give them a lot of stuff to go and extract data from. That's the problem. Okay, so it's going to take some time, and it's not like a priority thing right now. So I'm adding a little another thing onto it. If we can automate this, this would be it. Okay, but with that, I would have some actual data to be able to show some outcome on things I've been doing for diversity and inclusion. I can't tell you what it is yet. Okay, but I think it's a good possibility. A good one. I just got to get the. I know. I just got to get the. I need to get the data. The hardest thing is getting the data out. So if they give me the keys, I can do it myself. But yeah. I can do it myself. I just need the keys to the get into it. But with that data, that I can actually show some outcome. And put in an Excel table, and we could have get some cool stuff. Maybe some I don't know if we can get. I don't think we can do longitudinal stuff over time, but we could at least get some current stats backward from whenever this. I'm not going to say any more because I'll just talk about it when we get out. So challenge us. Find other data. Find other ways to measure it. Find other ways to show outcome. Find other ways to measure that so that we can talk about all the different range of diversity inclusion topics, okay? In an equal way, not in an unbalanced way, okay? Because right now it's kind of unbalanced, way too unbalanced, too focused on just the men and women thing, and on the women thing. And then there are women that only post about that all the time, and so that's kind of, again, I'm not against it. I'm totally for it, but I want to see it kind of. Let's have equal balance on all these other D&I diversity inclusion categories. Let's have a little bit of more of a balanced meal on this one. So that's my thoughts on it. Thanks for listening. And again, nothing is hard and fast or rules. These are just thoughts. And so but just having some thoughts about having thought about it a little bit. So have a good day.